Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we are going to start with a new topic, and that is data analysis. And in data analysis, see, there are various things that we have already covered. Like we have covered data. In data, we have already understood what is primary data and what is secondary data, right? We have understood the types of research instruments that can be used to collect data. That also we have covered. We have covered research process. We have covered sampling techniques. So a lot of part has been covered. Now finally we have come to data analysis, which is the most important part of any research, right? What is data analysis? Once you collect the data with the help of research instruments, whatever research instrument you use, whether you use interview, whether you use questionnaire, whether you use survey method, observation method, whatever method you use for data collection, after that we analyze that data. Now what is the process of analyzing this data? We are going to understand in today's class. Okay, the process of converting raw data into information starts with data processing and continues to data analysis, right? So before going any further, let me first explain you what are the learning objectives of today's class. Learning objectives of today's class is to make students understand about the data analysis, the concept of data analysis, the types of data analysis, and the process of data analysis. And the learning outcomes after this lecture will be, after the completion of this lecture, you will be having a broad idea on what data analysis is and how to go about it. What are the steps involved in data analysis? So now let's begin. The process of converting raw data into information starts with data processing and continues to data analysis. Now there are two words that we need to understand. The first is called as data processing, right? And the second is called as data analysis. So there is difference between these two words. When I say data processing, I am talking about data editing and data tabulation. What is data editing and tabulation? We are going to understand in the further slides. But right now, just understand that whenever we try to improve the quality of the data with the help of editing the data or tabulating the data from the questionnaire, it becomes data processing, right? You are refining the data, you are improving the quality of the data. That is data processing. Now, if you are applying any statistical or mathematical operation on the data, that becomes data analysis, right? So this is a basic difference between data processing and data analysis. When the first step is data processing, when you are converting the raw data into information, right? You are sequentially arranging the data, you are tabulating the data, you are editing the data, right? All these things will come in data processing. Once you are ready with your data and you are feeding your data into SPSS, then it becomes data analysis. Any statistical operation is to be allowed to be applied on data comes in data analysis, right? So we have two words here, data processing and data analysis. Research data analysis is a process used by researchers for reducing data to a story and interpreting it to derive the insights. See, data, numbers, figures, they cannot tell you anything unless and until we apply some operations on it and we find out some inference with it, right? For example, you are doing a study on customer satisfaction and you have approached 100 people on customer satisfaction. They have filled the questionnaire, but will the questionnaire tell you that whether they are satisfied or not? No, the questionnaire is not going to tell you. You have to transfer the questionnaire into a Excel sheet, right? Once you have transferred the data into a Excel sheet, you have to now process the data, edit the data, tabulate the data, and then the data is ready for data analysis. You apply any test on Excel or you apply any test on SPSS, that we are going to understand. Okay, so that is called as data analysis. Data analysis process helps in reducing a large chunk of data into smaller fragments which make sense. See, what do? We create different tables, different Excel sheets for different variables. For example, in the last class, we have studied that if you are studying performance in mathematics, right? This is the example we were studying, that if you are studying performance of a student in mathematics, then what is the study time, right? So study time will be one Excel sheet. Another Excel sheet will be interest in that particular subject. That was in the questionnaire. I'm talking about questionnaire, right? So from questionnaire, one part becomes your one Excel sheet. Okay. For example, in customer satisfaction, we are talking about hygiene and cleanliness. So we are asking questions on customers about hygiene and cleanliness. Are you happy with the washrooms? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Remember, we have done coding in the last class. So for example, the customer is very happy, he is ticking 5. So in Excel sheet, we are going to write customer number 1 and 5 in front of that. Okay, this is how it happens. Now, types of data in research. We are already aware of that there are two types of data, qualitative data and quantitative data, right? Data can be in different forms. Here are the primary data types. So we are fragmenting the primary data here into qualitative data and quantitative data. Qualitative data is when the data presented has words and descriptions. Then we call it qualitative data. Although you can observe the data, it is subjective and therefore harder to analyze data in research, especially for comparison. So, what is qualitative data? Can anybody explain qualitative data? Anybody?
When the data presented has words and description, then we call it क्वालिटी होता है मतलब जब डाटा डेटा को प्रेजेंटेड किया जाता है वर्ड्स में और अगर उसमें क्वालिटी अच्छे डिस्क्रिप्शन में अच्छे से अगर वो प्रेजेंट किया जाता है तो अच्छा से डाटा उसमें पुट किया जाता है तो क्वालिटी
Okay, okay, that's right actually. But let me explain you what is qualitative data and what is quantitative data. See, whenever we are talking about numbers, figures, tables, statistical methods, mathematical techniques, it is quant. So it becomes quantitative data. There are some uh, units which are very easy to measure. For example, your heart rate, right? Your blood pressure, your height, your weight. Uh, these are the things which are easily measurable, right? I can easily tell you that your your normal blood pressure is 120 by 80. I can measure it. If it is 130 by 100, you are a high BP patient. If it is 80 by 60, you are a low BP patient. Very easy for me to compare a higher number and a lower number, right? If your height is 6 feet, you are taller. If your height is 5'5", you are not taller, right? If your height is 5'2", you are a short person. So it is very easy to quantify. When it becomes easy for quantify, it becomes quantitative, right? For example, your weight is 70 and your friend's weight is 50. So you are heavier than your friend. Very easy to understand. Are you getting my point? When you can quantify the data in the terms of numbers or in the forms of figures, data, that becomes quantitative data, which is very easy to measure and understand. When we have certain terms in social sciences which you cannot measure, right? For example, opinions, attitudes, right? You cannot measure my opinion. If I say that my opinion is this, can you measure it? Can you say that my opinion is greater than my friend's opinion? You cannot say that, right? So these kinds of data are called as qualitative data, which cannot be absolutely measured in very accurately in correct terms. right? So that is called as qualitative data. See, the examples are given. Quality data represents everything describing taste, right? So आप ऐसा तो नहीं बोलते हो that I like the taste of cake 80% more than the taste of a pastry. Do you say that? No. You say I like cake, the taste of the cake more as compared to pastry. This is what you say. Can we quantify your taste? क्या हम उसको माप सकते हैं? क्या हम उसको मेजर कर सकते हैं आपके टेस्ट को? नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है. आपके ओपिनियन को हम मेजर कर सकते हैं? नहीं कर सकते. राइट. वी कैन ओनली से दैट योर ओपिनियन इज दिस एंड योर ओपिनियन इज दैट. For example, I say that in my opinion, COVID shield is better than Covaxin because it is authenticated by WHO. This is my opinion. So can you say that my opinion is 80% or 100% right? No. Somebody else has a different opinion. Somebody else will say that Covaxin is better than Covaxin. So you cannot measure these things, right? So taste, experience, texture, opinion is considered as a quality data. There are some types of data that you cannot measure. Okay, these type of data is collected through focus groups, personal interviews, or using open-ended questions in surveys, right? So we generally use open-ended questions in questionnaire, or the other way is using some kind of coding scales through which we can code the data. For example, do you like the taste of a cake, right? I am giving you five answers. Fifth means the taste is excellent. Fourth means the taste is very good. Third means the taste is neither good neither bad. Uh, then fourth is no. Second is the taste is bad, and one is the taste is worse. So if you like the cake, you will take four or five. If you don't like the cake, you will take one or two, right? अगर आपको समझ में ही नहीं आया तो आप थर्ड को टिक कर दो. तो इस तरीके से हम we make a effort to quantify this qualitative data through coding scales that we have seen yesterday in the when we were studying questionnaire, right? So this is called as qualitative data. Okay, whenever we have some data or some figures which cannot be measured exactly and absolute terms accurately, that is called as qualitative data. There are some data that can be measured in absolute terms. For example, temperature. The minimum temperature is 25 degree. The maximum temperature is 45 degree, right? Of Jaipur. When you talk about Shimla, maybe the maximum temperature is 25 degree and the minimum temperature is 12 degree. So you can easily compare that Jaipur is hotter as compared to Shimla, right? You can easily compare. When the comparison becomes easy, absolute, and accurate, it is quantitative data. When the comparison is difficult to quantify, the things are not absolute and accurate, that becomes qualitative data. Is this point clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I hope now you will not forget the difference between qualitative and quantitative data. Now, the next
Yes, ma'am.
point is quantitative data. Any data expressed in numbers or numerical forms are called as qualitative data. You have to remember quant means numbers. Okay. This type of data can be distinguished into categories, groups, measured, calculated, and ranked. Questions such as age. Age means my age is 35, your age is 22. It is very easy to understand that I am older to you. I am elder to you, right? My mother's age is 65, so she is elder to me. Okay. Questions such as age, rank. Rank means, for example, you are getting 80%, you are first in class. The second person is getting 75%, he is second in class, right? Cost. Cost means a TV may cost you 40,000 rupees or cell phone may cost you 20,000 rupees. So TV is costlier as compared to cell phone. I can easily compare length, right? For example, the length of this book is greater than this book, right? Because this book is of 25 centimeters and this book is of 10 centimeters. So this is greater than this. Very simple. Scores, you know the scores, right? 80 is greater than 70. 75 comes in distinction, 60 come in first class. We all know these things, right? So you can present such data in graphical format, charts, or you can apply statistical analysis methods to these data. Outcome measurement system questionnaires in surveys are significant source of collecting numeric data. So what is OMS? Forget what is OMS. OMS is just a simple kind of a questionnaire. Now, the thing that you need to understand is listen carefully what I'm saying. See, it is very easy to understand qualitative data. We can easily measure qualitative data, and there is no need for a questionnaire to count qualitative data, right? If I want to see that who is the tallest in the class, I will just note down your heights and I will make out that okay, this person is tallest in class, right? But if I want to identify any qualitative feature, for example, which student is highly satisfied with Gyanbihar University, then how will I measure it? This is the question, right? This is what we are doing in research methodology. We are converting a quantitative data into a measurable form with the help of coding scales so that we can analyze and measure the quantitative data also, because this is what we do in research. What do we measure in research? We measure customer satisfaction, we measure employee retention, we measure increase opinion of people. We These are the different things that we study, right? Customer satisfaction, employee retention, or growth factors, right? These are all not quantitative, these are all qualitative factors, right? So in research we are doing an effort to convert this uh, qualitative data into some kind of measurable forms. हम ये जो क्वालिटेटिव डेटा है, एक एक प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि इस डेटा को किसी तरीके से हम मेजर कर सके, क्योंकि यही कर रहे हैं हम रिसर्च। हम आपके ओपिनियंस को माप रहे हैं, हम आपके सेटिस्फेक्शन को माप रहे हैं। ये कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं, एटीट्यूड को माप रहे हैं, कुछ ऐसी चीजें जो आप सच में नहीं मेजर कर सकते। ठीक है, नाउ लेट्स गो फर्दर। नेक्स्ट वी हैव कैटेगोरिकल डेटा। Now, what is categorical data? It is presented in groups. However, an item included in the categorical data cannot belong to more than one group at a time. For example, a person responding to a survey by telling his living style, marital status, smoking habit, or drinking habit comes under the categorical data. So, categorical data means uh, you belong to a particular category, right? Categorical data means what are the males saying, male category saying, and what is the female category saying. Okay, that is categorical data. When I divide the data on the basis of a particular category, okay, for example, I am doing a study on your class, on your students, whether you are happy with it or not, happy with the computer lab or not, right? This is what I'm doing. So, for example, there are two girls in your class, right? So the two girls are satisfied with the computer lab, and the rest of the 15, 16 boys, they are not happy with the computer lab. Or let's say from 15, 12 are happy and 3 are not happy. So generally, I can say that 100% of the girls are happy with the computer lab, and most of the boys are happy with the computer lab, right? So this is called as categorical data, when you are dividing the data on the basis of a category, right? Like age, gender, marital status, things like that. These are called as categories, the demographic categories that we were talking about. Okay, so these are called as categorical data. Okay, now do we have any confusion till now? If
No,
there is
ma'am.
No,
any
ma'am.
point anybody wants to ask. Okay, now let's come to data analysis. Okay, Now, how do we do data analysis? Data analysis is done in four phases. Now, what are these four phases? The first is called as data validation, data editing, data coding, and finally data analysis, right? So let's understand the first step of data analysis, which is called as data validation. Now, what is data validation? When we prepare the data for data analysis, right? Now, data validation has also four steps. What are we studying? We are studying the phases of data analysis. Okay. In these phases, we are understanding the first phase, which is called as data validation. Please don't get confused. If you're getting confused, write it down in your copies. Write down the heading data analysis. Write down the subheading phases of data analysis. First point is data validation. Now, what is data validation? Data validation is done to understand if the collected data sample is as per the preset standards or not. Preset standards means whether the data is in good quality or not. Good quality means we give questionnaire to some people, they fill half of the questionnaire and half not. So we cannot, include that questionnaire in the data analysis process. Are you getting my point? For example, I have given you the questionnaire, I have given you 5 points to answer, and you are writing the sixth point and you are taking it. So this is some kind of data I cannot include my research in my research, right? So that is called as data validation, means checking the data whether it is as per your standard or not. Standard means whether the if the respondent is not writing his name and gender also, then also it becomes difficult for us. How will we categorize that data, right? So it is important to take the questionnaires which are full, nicely and correctly filled by the respondent. So the first step in data validation is fraud, right? To ensure an actual human being records each response to the survey of the questionnaire. Sometimes you send Google Forms uh, to a university. For example, you have sent 100 forms to a particular university, and some kind of software is filling that form, or some kind of programming has been done so that those forms are filled out automatically. This is something that should not be done, because this is going against the ethics of research, right? We genuinely want to find out, and from this kind of frauds, we are not able to do it. Next is screening. To ensure each participant or respondent is selected or chosen in compliance with the research criteria. See, this is about sampling, right? If you are doing a study for Jaipur city, you cannot take a student from Himachal Pradesh. You cannot take a student from Thailand, right? By mistakenly, if you have mailed a questionnaire to somebody who is out of your sampling area or your sampling frame, then please reject that questionnaire and take the sample which belongs to your population or your sampling frame. So that is called as screening. Okay, the first is fraud that you have to avoid. The second is you have to do screening of the questionnaire. You have to make sure that whether the questionnaires that you are receiving from the respondents are coming from the same sampling frame. Okay, what is sampling frame? Do you remember what is sampling frame? We have studied in sampling. Nobody?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, ma'am, basically sampling is that where is the sample is drawn. मतलब sampling frame वो होता है जहाँ से sample लिया जाता है मैम.
Very good, Anil. At least there is one person who remembers, right? So, what is sampling frame? Sampling frame is the area from which we take out sample from a population. Okay, maybe that area or maybe set of criteria that you fix from where you collect the sample. So that becomes what? That becomes your sampling frame. Okay, the next point is called as procedure. To ensure ethical standards were maintained while collecting the data sample. Ethical standard means, see, what happens is, for example, I give you a task of writing down a report and you have started it at the end of the semester. So what will you do? If you have 100 questionnaires, you will give 20 questionnaire to one friend of yours कि भाई तू भर दे, जल्दी जल्दी भर दे, अभी टाइम नहीं है, मेरे को सबमिट कराना है. So do you think that the results that you are going to get from those questionnaires will be correct or will be ethical? No, that is not ethical. For example, you have not even prepared a questionnaire. You have copied everything else from somebody else's report. So do you think that is going to be ethical? That is not going to be ethical on the first hand. And on the second hand, you will never learn in your life that how to do a particular research. So that's that's the more important setback that you are going to get. You are never going to understand how to do a particular research if you yourself are not going to do it and you are going to copy it from somewhere else, right? So procedure is very important. Applying the ethical standards in a report is very important, right? It also defines you, the kind of individual you are and the kind of attitude you have towards your research or towards your studies, right? Next is completeness. To ensure that the respondent has answered all the questions in an online survey, else the interviewer had asked all the questions devised in the questionnaire. So you take 10 days, 15 days, 1 month of time to prepare a questionnaire because once you have prepared the questionnaire and you have sent it to the respondents, you cannot change it. You cannot change your questions in the questionnaire. So, in order to make sure that your questionnaire is correct, please take time, please take help, please take guidance from your teachers, your guides on how to prepare the questionnaire, right? So, that is called as completeness, okay? And also whether the respondent has answered all questions or not. For example, your friend is giving you a questionnaire, please check it that whether he has filled full questionnaire or not. Because if it is not properly filled, you cannot add that questionnaire into your data analysis. So at the end of the day, you will end up getting only 40 questionnaires out of 100, right? So again, your result will be not accurate because you have thought of sample size of 100. So you have to make sure each individual is filling the questionnaire correctly. If the respondent is not filling the questionnaire completely, you have to request that individual to please fill it again, or you may help him filling the questionnaire. Now, after phase one, uh, that is data validation, which is very important, you come to data editing, right? Now, what is data editing? Write down in your copies, phase two, data editing. Okay. More often, an extensive research data sample comes loaded with errors. Respondents sometimes fill in some fields incorrectly or sometimes skip them accidentally. Data editing is a process where researchers have to confirm that the provided data is free of such errors. For that, they need to conduct necessary checks and outlier checks to edit the raw edit and make it ready for the analysis. So, data editing is nothing but just to check the quality of the questionnaires, filled questionnaires that you are getting. Okay. For I have given you several examples. For example, you are giving five categories in which the respondent has to take. He is writing sixth category, seventh category. People do that, right? If you do certain kind of research, people are not writing their name and gender. It's okay if they don't write their telephone numbers, but we want the basic information, right? Whether he is a male or female, what is their income group? Because if they don't write, we won't be able to categorically inference the data. We will not be able to say that these many males and these many females are happy, not happy with the product. High income group people are happy with the product. Low income group people are not happy with the product. We will not be able to categorically inference the data if the data is not in a good shape, right? So only designing the questionnaire and sending will not do. You have to check each and every questionnaire that you receive from your respondent. If it is not properly filled, then you have to contact them again and you have to ask them that, sir, what is this is left? Kindly fill it, or I will fill it for you. Please tell me what do you think about that. Okay, so that is the second phase, which is called as data editing. Now next comes data coding. Out of all three, this is the most critical phase of data preparation. So what are the three phases that we are talking about? The first is called as, which is the first one?
Data validation,
Very good. So data validation. Second is
data editing.
data editing. Very good. And the third one is data coding. Now let us understand how do you do data coding. Out of the three, there is most critical phase of data preparation, which is associated with grouping and assigning value to the survey response. Suppose a survey is completed with 1,000 sample size, then the researcher will create a age bracket to distinguish the respondent based on their age. Thus, it becomes easier to analyze small data buckets rather than to deal with the massive data pile. So, as I've already explained you, whenever you are making part A of the questionnaire, always keep the answers in categories, right? For example, you have 1,000 questionnaires, right? So make categories. What is your gender? Question mark. Category A is male. Category B is female. What is your age? A, uh, 20 to 35, 35 to 45, 45 onwards, right? Make categories. Why I am telling you to make categories? Because it will ease your process to code that data, right? See, if you are writing in the questionnaire that I am a male, how will I write that male in an Excel sheet? Can I write MALE male? No, I cannot write it. I have to code it. How will I code it? I will code male as one, female as two, right? So I will like, I how will I write in the Excel sheet? Point number one, I will write the category as a heading. If you are a male in the first questionnaire, I will write one. If you are a female in the questionnaire, I will write two. So this is how I will code my um, respondents, right? Let me show you so that you can understand it easily. Give me a moment. Okay, so I'm sharing an Excel sheet to make you understand how do we code a questionnaire. Okay, I hope you can see this Excel sheet, right? Now I am renaming this sheet as demographic factors, right? What are demographic factors? Which are part one of the questionnaire, right? In which we take general information from the public. So, for example, this is how I am coding my date. Okay, I have respondent number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I have total how many respondents? I have total 6 respondents, right? So how will I write? How will I code their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? As long as you will get the questionnaire, you will get a pile of papers, right? So you will write one here on the first questionnaire. For example, Aditya is the first person who has filled the questionnaire. So write one on the Adit's questionnaire. Then, for example, Chandrasekhar is the respondent number two. So you will write two on the second page, second questionnaire, right? So that will be the serial number. Okay, that will be the serial number. I'm if you can see in the Excel sheet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so what is gender of Aditya? He is male. Okay, so I have coded here male is equal to 1 and female is equal to 2, right? So Aditya is a male. Okay, second is Chandrasekhar. Chandrasekhar is a male. For example, Shilpi is the third respondent. She is a female. Anjali is a female. Then maybe Nitish is a male, and one more, Upendra is a male, right? So this is how you code the data. Okay. Serial numbers means the serial number of respondents and gender. Here, likewise, you will keep on adding columns. Okay. For example, here you will write educational qualification, which can be the second demographic variable that you are asking your respondents. Now, how will you answer this? For example, I am coding it that if you are a UG, UG मतलब क्या होता है? What is UG?
यूज कर उपयोग कर
अंडर sir.
Undergraduate.
Undergraduate.
ठीक है. So right now you all are undergraduate. So educational qualification में what will come? One, 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 and one. ठीक है. I hope you are understanding this point.
Yes, ma'am.
यस मैम
है ना?
यस मैम
एक और मैं I will show you example. For example, I am writing monthly income. Right? Monthly income is the next column. Now, how will I code this monthly income? For example, I write down student, no income, student, stipend. Then I write student, no, 15,000 to 25,000. Next is 30,000 to 50,000, and then 50,000 onwards, right? So student with no income will become 1, student with stipend will become 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, right? So you all are student with no income. So I will write 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1, right? So this is how I fill the questionnaire, right? This is how I will make the demographic variable. अब यहाँ पे I have only written 6, right? But in reality, the minimum sample size is of 50 respondents. So this will go up to 50. If you have 500,000 respondents, it will the sheet will go up to 50, 500 or 1,000 respondents. This first sheet is going to give you the basic idea of what your respondent is all about, the basic characteristics, the basic feature of your respondent, whether he is a male or female, monthly income, educational qualification, everything. And why we are taking that? Because we will be able to give inferences at the end of data analysis that these many males are happy, okay, with the particular system or satisfied with the particular system, and these many females are happy with this particular system. How will I make out? Because here I have coded it. If you can see, two are females, so that means my third and fourth respondents are female. So I will find out their findings in SPSS and I will say that these are the findings. I have coded that they are females. So females are less satisfied with the library and males are more satisfied with the library. So this is how you are going to infer your questionnaire. Okay. Now let's go back to the slide. Any confusion in this Excel sheet?
नो मैम
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let's go back to the presentation. How much time is left? We have only 4 minutes. Okay, so I think next is method of data analysis that we will cover in the tomorrow's class because this is a very big topic. So today, what have we understood? We have understood that there are two types of data and you will never forget it again. We have quantitative data and we have qualitative data. Okay, two types of data. The The second thing that we have understood is that there is a difference between data processing and data analysis, and there are three phases of data analysis, right? The first phase is called as data validation. What is the second phase?
And editing.
Very good. The second phase is called as data editing, and the third phase is called as data coding that I've shown you in the Excel sheet, that how to code your data, right? I forgot to mention you that, uh, let me share the sheet again. Just a moment. The last point that I want to discuss is that you have understood how to code part A of the questionnaire, which is demographic factors. Now let's come to sheet 2, right? In sheet 2, we will write part 2 of the questionnaire, right? For example, here I am taking hygiene factor, hygiene and cleanliness. Okay. We have discussed about variables, if you remember, customer satisfaction from the healthcare industry or a hospital. So for example, part 1 of my questionnaire is hygiene and cleanliness, right? So let me tell you how to code this in the, so here it will become question number 1, right? So what is the question that you have asked? If you remember, you have given them 5 options, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? 5 means excellent, 4 means very good, third means don't know, okay? 1 means not happy, and 1 means worst. For example, my first question is, are you happy with the washrooms? So Aditya is saying excellent. Okay. Then second was Chandrasekhar is saying very good. Then Shilpi is saying worst. Anjali is saying worst. Then Nitish is saying very good. And Upendra is saying it is excellent. Right. So you can make out that the female candidates were not happy with the washroom situation, right? And the male candidates, they are happy with the washroom situations, because who are the female candidates? Third and fourth, Shilpi and Anjali, right? I've coded them 3 and 4. And the male candidates, they are like uh, 1, 2, 5, and 6. So this is how I code their first question, right? Then I will write question number 2. Then question number 3. Okay, 4, 5, 6. इस तरीके से you will write down. Then if you have the another factor is like maybe ATM facility. So you will write ATM facility here. Okay. Then again you will code, you will copy paste, copy, sorry, and paste here, and in the same way you are going to code the first question, right? And you are going to find it, right? So this is how you tabulate the data. Okay. uh, I will quickly take your attendance now. Rest of the things we will cover in tomorrow's class. Nishanta, Nishanta Burman, no Sachin. Sachin Sachin is here. No, he's not here. Ubina, yes, Ubina is here. Aditya is present. Nitish Kumar is present, and Rahul is present.
Yes, ma'am.
Sanjeev Kumar, Sonu Kumar, Upendra, Upendra is
Yes,
present.
ma'am.
Saurav Kumar Jha,
Present, ma'am.
Anil, Anil is present. Rajkumar
Yes,
Singh,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Shilpi, Shilpi is present.
Yes, ma'am.
Aditya Raj,
Yes, ma'am.
Anjali, Anjali is not here. Sahaj, Chandrasekhar is present. Gaurav,
Yes, present, ma'am.
Papu Singh.
Absent, ma'am.
Okay. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. I am ending.